Hey, welcome to Money Mechanics. I'm Marcus. Here's a question that might surprise you. What if the money sitting in your savings account is actually losing you money? Sounds crazy, right? But by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how inflation is silently eating your savings and, more importantly, what you can do about it. Let's break it down.
Right now, as you're watching this video, your savings account is losing money. Not a little. We're talking thousands of dollars a year just vanishing into thin air. And the worst part? Your bank knows this. They're counting on you not figuring it out. But today, that changes. I'm going to show you exactly how much you're losing, why it's happening, and most importantly, what to do about it. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your savings account the same way again. Let's start with a simple example that's going to blow your mind. Imagine you have $10,000 sitting in a traditional savings account. Feels safe, right? You can see the number right there in your banking app. $10,000. But here's the thing nobody tells you. That number is a lie. Well, not exactly a lie, but it's deeply misleading. Because while your balance says $10,000, the actual purchasing power of that money is shrinking every single day. Here's how it works. Inflation, the general rise in prices over time, has been averaging around 3% per year. Some years it's higher, like when it hit 9.1% in June 2022. But even at a quote-unquote normal 3%, the math is devastating. Your $10,000? After 1 year, it only buys what $9,700 would have bought the year before. After 5 years, you've lost nearly $1,500 in real purchasing power. After 10 years, almost $2,600 gone. And you never even noticed because the number in your account stayed the same. Now here's where it gets really insulting. Your traditional savings account pays you interest, right? Sure, about 0.01 to 0.1% at most big banks. Let's be generous and say you're getting 0.1%. On $10,000, that's $10 a year. $10. Meanwhile, inflation took $300 of purchasing power from you. So, your real return, meaning what you actually gained after inflation, is negative 2.9%. You're paying the bank to hold your money. Let that sink in. And by the way, why do banks offer such pathetically low interest rates? Because they don't need to offer more. They take your deposits and lend them out at 4, 5, 6% or higher. They're making massive profits off your money while giving you crumbs. The average American has about $41,000 in savings. At a negative real return of 2.9%, that's over $1,100 in lost purchasing power every single year. Across all American households, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars quietly transferred from savers to, well, everyone else. Okay, so now you understand the problem. Let's talk solutions. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying don't save money. You absolutely need an emergency fund. What I'm saying is, don't let more money than necessary sit in a traditional savings account earning basically nothing. So here's your first upgrade, and it's the easiest one. High-yield savings accounts. These are typically offered by online banks, and right now, they're paying anywhere from 4 to 5% APY. That's 40 to 50 times more than your traditional bank. At 4.5% on $10,000, you're earning $450 a year instead of 10. That's a massive difference. And with inflation at 3%, your real return is actually positive, about 1.5%. Your money is finally growing instead of shrinking. The catch? These rates aren't guaranteed. They fluctuate with the federal funds rate. When the Fed cuts rates, your high-yield savings rate drops too. So while this is a great first step, it's not a complete solution. Solution number 2, and this one is seriously underrated, Series I savings bonds, or I bonds. These are issued by the U.S. Treasury, and here's what makes them special. Their interest rate is directly tied to inflation. The rate has two parts, a fixed rate and an inflation rate that adjusts every 6 months. When inflation goes up, your I bond rate goes up. You're essentially guaranteed to keep pace with inflation. During the inflation spike of 2022, I bonds were yielding over 9%. Now, The limitations. You can only buy $10,000 worth per person per year through Treasury Direct. You have to hold them for at least 1 year, and if you cash out before 5 years, you lose the last 3 months of interest. But for money you're not going to touch for a while, it's one of the safest inflation-protected investments you can make. It's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. Solution number 3, Treasury bills or T-bills. These are short-term government securities, typically ranging from 4 weeks to 1 year. Right now, T-bills are yielding around 4 to 5%. They're incredibly safe, again, backed by the U.S. government, and they have a tax advantage. The interest is exempt from state and local taxes. You can buy them directly through Treasury Direct or through your brokerage account. For money you need access to within a year, T-bills are a strong option. Now let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture. Everything I've mentioned so far, high-yield savings, I-bonds, T-bills, these are great for protecting your money from inflation. But if you really want to build wealth, you need to go further. And this is where most people get scared and stay in their savings account, which is exactly what the banks want. The stock market, specifically broad index funds like the S&P 500, has averaged about 10% annual returns over the last 100 years. After inflation, that's roughly 7% real returns. Let me put that in perspective. If you invested $10,000 in an S&P 500 index fund and left it alone for 30 years at 7% real returns, you'd have over $76,000 in today's money. That same $10,000 in a savings account, it would have lost nearly 60% of its purchasing power. That's the difference between building wealth and slowly going broke while feeling safe. Quick pause here. If you're finding this valuable, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel, and it tells me to make more content like this. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but the stock market is risky. What about crashes? And you're right, the market does crash. It crashed in 2008. It crashed in 2020. But here's the key insight. It has always recovered and gone on to reach new highs. Every single time. The people who lose money in the stock market are the ones who panic sell during downturns. If you have a long time horizon, 10 years or more, the historical evidence overwhelmingly supports staying invested. So here's the framework I'd suggest. First, build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. That's your safety net. Second, max out your I-bond allocation, $10,000 per year. It's free inflation protection. Third, use T-bills for any money you'll need within 1 to 12 months. And fourth, and this is the wealth builder, invest everything else in low-cost index funds. Automate it. Don't try to time the market. Just consistent, boring investing over time. That's the actual formula for building wealth.
So here's your action plan. Step 1. Move your emergency fund to a high-yield savings account today. It takes 5 minutes. Step 2. Look into I-bonds for your inflation-protected baseline. Step 3. Start exploring T-bills and index funds for real growth. Every day you wait, inflation is quietly taking a cut. The tools are right in front of you.
So there you have it. Your savings account isn't saving you anything. It's a slow bleed. Start thinking about where your money actually works for you. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe and break down money mechanics like this every week. I'll see you in the next one.